everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and more importantly, Happy New Year. I know we are only a few days in at this point. Well, it's either Friday or Saturday when this video will go up, so we're about a week in at this point, so I know it's still early, but I do hope that if you're watching this, your new year is off to a great start already. And speaking of being off to a great start, since this is definitely the time of year where people start thinking about goal setting, making resolutions, putting together a plan for the new year, thinking about their hopes and dreams and desires and all of these things that they're looking forward to over the next couple of months, I thought it would be a good idea to make a video about the concept of a wellness vision, what it means, how to build one, and how a wellness vision can help you achieve the goals that you're working on setting for yourself. So let's first talk about what a wellness vision is. I am sure all of you have heard the term vision board or visioning maybe, so you might be familiar with some of those practices. And a wellness vision can be very similar. So simply speaking, a wellness vision is really a guiding framework that is going to help you define what higher level wellness and well-being mean to you personally. And because a wellness vision really creates this broader picture of your well-being, I really recommend that you create your wellness vision before you start setting goals. Now, not to worry, if you've already set your goals for the year or if you're in the process of working on those, that's not to say that you can't do a wellness vision, but I really encourage you, if you are in the process, to maybe pause and take a little bit to think about your wellness vision so that you can maybe more accurately pinpoint what your specific goals might be. And so once you have your wellness vision all fleshed out and you set your goals or maybe revise some goals that you've already created, and then you start taking action towards achieving those goals, the wellness vision is really going to act as what I like to call the North Star. So it's always going to be something that you can refer back to if at any point you feel like maybe you're veering off course a little bit. And for those of you who might be tuning into this channel for the first time, in addition to being a certified health education specialist, having a master's degree in health promotion, I am also a board certified health and wellness coach. And when I was coaching, I always used to encourage my clients to think about the wellness vision in this way. If you don't know where you're going, how will you know how to get there? And so when you think more about the wellness vision is really the where are you going, and the goals and action steps are how you're going to get there. So again, it's nice to have that wellness vision all built out, and then you can kind of reverse engineer things when it comes to setting your goals and then kind of working on action steps from there. So now that we've got a general idea of what a wellness vision is, let's talk about how we go about creating one. So this is where I'm really going to encourage you to write things down. Now, I know that journaling is not for everybody. It's a great tool, but it doesn't work for everybody. That being said, writing things down does not have to be a super formal practice like journaling might be. So here's where you can literally take out a blank piece of printer paper or just maybe a notebook that you have lying around, just anything that you can kind of put your thoughts together on. If you want to do it digitally, that's great too. Open up a Google Doc, open up maybe something that you have on your iPad that you like to use to take notes on, and those are perfectly great tools as well. So some of the questions that can help guide you in building out this wellness vision and bringing it to life might be things like, when I am at my absolute best, and remember, this is going to be different for everybody, so think about yourself and your life, and your situation. When I am at my best self, what does that look like? And then you expand from there. So for example, what do I look like when I'm at my best? What is my life like when I'm at my best? How is that different than today? What am I feeling? Who am I with? Where am I? So when I say wellness vision, I really mean the whole entire big picture of you at your highest level of well-being. And really taking the time to reflect on these types of questions is going to help you paint a really vivid picture of where exactly it is that you are going. And here is actually where I want to make a brief note about the concepts of wellness and well-being, because I've mentioned them quite often at this point. What I really want to emphasize here is that wellness is not simply the absence of disease or illness. And that can be very important to keep in mind if you are somebody who, for example, is living with a physical disability or challenge of some sort. And I know this might sound strange or counterintuitive, but it is absolutely possible to be living with a physical disability or illness or even dying and still be oriented towards wellness and well-being. And that is because there are many, many different facets of a person's well-being and wellness. And I know this time of year, we tend to focus on the physical attributes, right? We tend to focus on the nutrition or the eating and the physical activity and the stress management and those types of things. But depending on which dimensional model of wellness you use, there are many, many different aspects that make up a person's well-being. And as I mentioned, there are many different dimensional models of wellness, and depending on which one you're looking at, there could be 6 dimensions in one model, 12 dimensions in another. But for today's purposes, I'm going to mention 6 of them that are pretty common across many of the models. And that includes emotional, physical, intellectual, occupational, spiritual, and social. And there are 2 others that I want to mention as well, and those are environmental and financial. And I imagine that this probably doesn't come as a surprise to many of you, because as you reflect on your own lived experiences, you probably understand that those times when you were at your best may not have been solely focused on the physical aspect. Maybe it was more social or environmental or financial or occupational, or maybe there was a better balance between some of those. So again, the note and the emphasis is that even if you are somebody who is living with some type of challenge in one of these areas, it is still possible to be facing towards wellness and well-being. And finally, I want to mention what is, in my humble opinion, the fun part, which is the visual vision board. I know I mentioned the concept of vision boards earlier in the video, but this is a great way if you are a creative person to kind of put something together that's going to encompass all of those questions and things that you've been thinking about when it comes to you at your best. And of course, there are lots of different tools these days to bring your vision board to life. There are digital tools like Pinterest or Photoshop, or you can go old school, bust out your notebook and your old magazines or stickers and create a hard copy vision board that you can maybe put in your office, on your fridge, or just keep in a notebook somewhere. And I do want to acknowledge that at this point, some of you might be thinking to yourselves, okay, Alexis, you've told us about what the wellness vision is. You've given us a couple questions to maybe get the gears turning. However, now that I'm looking at my notebook or my journal or my scrap piece of paper, I don't really know how to get started, or I'm kind of drawing a blank here. Well, don't worry, I got you. Just like the last video, I have put together for you a very simple 2-page black and white, easily printable if you want to print it out, wellness vision template that will serve as a guide for you if you feel like you might have a little bit of trouble getting things started and getting the ball rolling with your wellness vision. So that will be linked in the description box below. Again, it is free. It will not ask you for an email or to sign up for everything. Simply click on the link and the PDF will open up in a new window. And as a quick teaser, one more tool that I wanted to mention for you, because I'm all about tools, is the guided journal that I have created called the Book of Extraordinary Things. This is my pride and joy, and the reason I say it's a little bit of a spoiler is because I do have an upcoming video that will be out sometime later this month that will go more in depth about this journal, how to use it, what it's all about. We'll take a deeper look at the interior. And so yes, there is a specific section at the beginning of this journal, which I will open up for you here. And so it is this section. The journal does come with two of these ribbons, so you can mark your place. But it's the very first section in the journal, and it is called Preparation. So it is going to ask you some of those very same questions and encourage you to think about some of those things that I talked to you about earlier in the video. And then in addition to that, if you wanted to make a smaller version of your visual vision board, it does have a space here, a blank space that is expressly for that purpose. This was designed to look like a magic book. I wanted it to be beautiful, something that you would love to take out of your bag or have, you know, maybe displayed on your shelf or your desk. So this might be a tool too if journaling is your thing or you're looking to get started with it. And if you did want to check out the Book of Extraordinary Things, the link will also be in the description box below, and that will be a link to my Etsy shop where I have this and a couple of other goodies to help you with journaling. And I know I already said finally, but I did want to leave you with a couple of last few tips that will hopefully help you when you're thinking about your wellness vision. And the first is that your wellness vision is not set in stone. So just as you can always use it as your North Star to reflect on if you feel like you've gotten off course with your goals, you can always just check in on your wellness vision to see if the things that you've envisioned for yourself are still things that you value and still the way that you see yourself at your best. And if you find that months down the line, even if it's towards the end of the year, that your wellness vision needs to change or be updated, of course you can do that. We are always growing, hopefully always growing and evolving as people. And so I imagine the same thing will happen with your wellness vision. Another tip is that when you are writing out some of these questions, or if you're thinking about them, I encourage you to think about them in the present tense. So for example, I am, I feel, those types of things, as opposed to I will, because part of the visioning process is already imagining yourself being at your best. So that's why we want to use the present tense. And then the last tip I have is that, again, when you're writing things out, or even if you're thinking about them or putting together your visual vision board, it's really helpful to think about things that you want versus things that you don't want. And I'll give you an example. So thinking about what you don't want might sound like, I don't want to feel exhausted all the time. Instead, we're going to flip that and say, I feel energetic in the afternoons, or I feel energetic when I wake up in the morning. So again, focusing on what we want versus what we don't want. And I know I mentioned this earlier, but if you have any questions or you're still wondering about something or need some extra support with this process, please don't hesitate to leave your questions in the comments below. I do see them. And speaking of the comments, I would love also to hear from you all if you have any experience with creating a wellness vision, if you've done one in the past, whether that's on your own or with a professional coach, for example, or if it's something you're thinking about doing for yourself this year, or if you've already taken that step or it's something you're already familiar with. I would love to hear one aspect of your wellness vision in the comments below. I want to say a heartfelt thank you to all of you for tuning in and for watching and subscribing and liking. It all means a lot to me for my return to YouTube. And stay tuned for next week's video, where, as a behavior change specialist, I will talk about some of the most common goal setting mistakes that I see people make and how to fix them. Again, thank you so much for watching. And as always, my wish for you, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, may you live with peace and ease. Take care of yourselves, be well, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.